Good morning, everyone. My name is Ranjita. I am your science faculty. Today, we are going to discuss with the first chapter of the science, that is chemical reaction and chemical equation. Okay, this is the first chapter of your science. We already discussed in the first section that how the weightage of the chapter will come in the science. You already know that for this chapter, how many marks is allotted for your final examination. If you see the first chapter, that is chemical reaction and chemical equation, this chapter, the weightage of this chapter is 4 marks for your final examination. Therefore, you want to give the much more concentration for the topics that present in the chapter. If you see the introduction for this chapter, what are the things that present in this chapter and what we are going to discuss all over this chapter is, if you see that what are the topics that we are going to discuss in this chapter is, the firstly we are going to discuss with the chemical equation. First we are going to define with what is chemical equation, how we are going to write the chemical equation. If you see in the chemical equations, there are two types of representing of the chemical equation. What are the two types of representing the chemical equation? In the type of chemical equation, the two representation is, the one is the word equation and the second one is the symbolic equation. Symbolic equation is also called as an skeleton equation. Okay. Therefore, if you see in the chemical equation, first we are going to discuss with define chemical equation. Along with, you are going to discuss with the two types of the chemical equation, that is the word equation. Again, you are going to discuss with the skeleton equation or symbolic equation. After getting know the concept of the chemical equation, now we are going to discuss with the balancing of chemical equation. This is the main part of this chapter. If you see the chapter, I said it is for the 4 marks. In the 4 marks, the 2 marks will ask it for this one only. Balancing of chemical equation. How we are going to balance the chemical equation? For balancing of the chemical equation, there are so many steps. Okay. You want to know the main important 6 steps of balancing of chemical equation. Here in this concept, you are going to know how you are going to balance the chemical equation. Balancing of chemical equation takes place by step by step. In your final examination, they may not ask to write the step, but you want to know how to write the balanced chemical equation by step. This is very important for your examination also. Not only for your examination, for further your future. For further your education, this is in the chemistry, it is very important. How you are going to balance the chemical equation. After balancing of chemical equation, you want to know that after balancing of chemical equation, we are going to know some of the examples. Maybe 6 to 7 example we will do, or maybe more than that also we can do. We want to complete with the some of the examples for balancing of chemical equation. After knowing the chemical equation, how to balance the chemical equation, now the term to know that what are the types of chemical reaction. Before going to study the types of chemical reaction, we want to know that what is chemical reaction exactly. What is the chemical reaction? If you come to the chemical reaction, first you want to know the what is reactant side, what is product side, what is reactant, what is product, what is chemical reaction. After knowing the definition of the chemical reaction and what is that reactant and what is that product, then we are going to discuss with these types of chemical reaction. First, what you want to go to know, you know to what is the definition of chemical reaction, After knowing the definition of chemical reaction only, we are going to discuss with the types of chemical reaction. If you coming to the types of chemical reaction, there are mainly 5 important types of chemical reactions. How many types of chemical reactions we want to study? We want to study the 5 important types of chemical reactions. What are those 5 important types of chemical reactions? Means the first one is combination reaction. First, you are going to discuss with the combination reaction. What is this combination reaction? We will discuss it. What is the combination reaction? After the second type of the reaction is come to the decomposition reaction. The first type of the chemical reaction you want to study the combination reaction. Then we are going to discuss with the decomposition reaction. After studying the decomposition reaction, the next term to the displacement reaction. The third part. The third type of the chemical reaction is the displacement reaction. After writing the displacement, after knowing the definition and some of the examples of the displacement reaction, now the term to study the double displacement reaction. What is the definition of double displacement reaction? And also we want to see some of the example for the double displacement reaction. And the lastly, but not the least, we want to study about this redox reaction. We want to discuss with the redox reaction. The full name of the redox reaction is reduction and oxidation reaction. Simply, we call that oxidation and reduction reaction is called as an redox reaction. These are the 5 types of chemical reactions we are going to study in this chapter. One more time, I just give the brief introduction for this chapter. What are the things you are going to discuss? What are the things that you are going to discuss in this chapter is, first you are going to study the what is chemical equation, balancing of chemical equation. Next we are going to study with the reactions, types of chemical reactions. In that the first one is the combination reaction, decomposition reaction, displacement reaction, double displacement reaction, and we are going to discuss with the redox reaction. These are the topics we are going to study in this chapter. And I already said that for this chapter, for your final examination, it is for 4 marks. Now we are going to discuss with one by one. First, we want to know that what is chemical reaction. The first thing what you want to know is the what is chemical reaction. Now we are going to first know what is chemical reaction and what is the reactant and what is the product. Okay. We are going to discuss with the, I said that we are going to discuss with the firstly the chemical reaction. What is this chemical reaction? Why we are going to discuss with this chemical reaction? If you see that what is this chemical reaction means, it is the systematic representation. Not like that anything we are going to write in the reaction. It is the systematic representation. It is the systematic representation of the elements by using the elements in the equations. It is the systematic representation. If you see that it is the systematic representation. Writing the systematic representation of the element in by using the sum of the equations is known as chemical reactions. In chemical reactions, by writing the chemical reactions, we want to know the 2 important topics. I said one is the reactant and another one is the product. The one thing you want to know the reactant and another one thing you want to know about the product. What is this reactant? What is this product means? If you see the any of the chemical reactions, what are the things that present left side of the chemical equation? Any of the thing which comes on the left side of the chemical reaction, and if they are reacted each other, that are known as the reactants. What are reactants? In the chemical reaction or in the chemical equation, if the elements or if the compounds are written on the left side and they are going to react each other to give the new product, the elements are react each other to give the new products. That reacting substance or that reacting elements are known as reactants. Therefore, what are products then? What are products means The products, that means in the chemical equation or in the chemical reaction, in the chemical equation or in the chemical reaction, if the things that present on the RHS, that is in your right hand side, okay, the right hand side of the chemical reactions, then you getting the new substances here. The reactants are react each other to give the new substance. That new substance is known as the product. Maybe you understand what is reactant and what is product. What is reactant? The component or the substance which present on the left side of the reaction in which they are react each other are known as the reactant. And what is product? And if you see what is product means, the substance is present in the right hand side. The substance that present in the right hand side of the chemical reactions is known as product. These are the two important things you want to know before going to start with the reactions, some of the reactions. Okay. And also you are maybe familiar with the law of conservation of mass. This law of conservation of mass you are studying in the 9th standard itself. Okay, you study the law of conservation of mass in the 9th standard only. What is this exactly, the law of conservation of mass? Why we are going to discuss with this law of conservation of mass? Okay, you are already discussed this within the 9th standard itself. You are going to discuss this thing in the 9th standard. What is law of conservation of mass? If you see, what is this law of conservation of mass means, the mass neither be created, not be destroyed, but it converted from the one form of its state to the another form. This is known as the law of conservation of mass. You already discussed this in the 9th standard itself. What is law of conservation of mass? One more time I will just tell the definition of the law of conservation of mass. What is law of conservation of mass means? The energy or the mass that neither be created not be destroyed, but it converts from the one state to its another state. That is known as law of conservation of mass. You may ask that why we are going to discuss with this law of conservation of mass. We are discussing with the reactant and product. What is the need? What is the need of studying this law of conservation of mass? Yes, there is some application of this law of conservation mass to the chemical reaction. Okay, what is the application? Why we are going to discuss with this law of conservation of mass? Why we are going to discuss this law of conservation of mass means, if you see I said that in the chemical reactions, the reactant is there, the product is there. If you see the reactant and product, here the law of conservation of mass is exist. How means, I said that law of conservation of mass is, masses can neither be created nor be destroyed, but it converts from the one form to the another form. If you see the chemical reactions also, in the reactant, if you see the reactant, there also the combination of the reactant takes place. Reacting of the reactant takes place to get the new form. That means you get the new product, but no loss of the reactant takes place. The reactant is converted into the new form like the product, but no loss of the reactant takes place. That's why we use the law of conservation of mass to the chemical reaction. Maybe now you understand that what is chemical reaction and why we are going to use the law of conservation of mass. Now we are going to see some of the activities that prescribed in your textbook. There are some activity that prescribed in your textbook to explain how exactly the chemical reaction takes place. Is the law of conservation of mass is definitely that present in the chemical reaction? Everything we will discuss by using some of the activity. The first activity that prescribed in your textbook means, that is of the using of magnesium. Maybe all of you know that magnesium ribbon, right? The magnesium ribbon, okay. First I will explain the activity. First you want to take the magnesium ribbon. Before taking the magnesium ribbon, you want to clean the surface of the magnesium ribbon. by using the sandpaper. Why we are going to clean the surface of the magnesium ribbon means, if you not clean the surface of magnesium ribbon, some of the dust particles or some of the other particles, if you kept that magnesium ribbon in the atmosphere, that magnesium may react with the oxygen in the atmosphere to form the other any products. That's why first you want to clean. That means you want to rub the surface of the magnesium ribbon by using the sandpaper. By using the sandpaper, you are going to rub and clean the surface of magnesium. Maybe you understood that why we are going to clean the surface of magnesium. This is the give reasoning question they may ask in your final examination. Why we are going to clean the surface of the magnesium ribbon. Why we are going to clean the surface of magnesium ribbon? If you not clean the surface of magnesium ribbon, some of the dust particles that present on the surface of magnesium ribbon that react in the reaction to give the other products. We want some of the product, but we get the different other products. We don't want, right? We want what is the product we want. That's why before that you want to clean the magnesium ribbon. After that, what you are going to do means, when this magnesium ribbon, you want to burn this magnesium ribbon by using the Bunsen burner. I will show the video for this activity. First listen the activity process. What you are going to do, that you want to take the magnesium ribbon and you want to burn this magnesium ribbon in the presence of the Bunsen burner. What happened? What happened to that magnesium ribbon? When that magnesium ribbon is taken to the Bunsen burner, what happens means it burns in the white flame. Okay, it burns in the white flame. After burning of the magnesium rubber, you get the white powder of the magnesium. After then burning the magnesium rubber in the Bunsen burner, you get the white flame that burns with the white flame, and also you get the white powder. What is that powder? We are taking the ribbon. We just burn that ribbon in the fire. What happened to that ribbon? Either the ribbon maybe turns into black, but why it get into the powder? What is the reaction happening here? If you see what is the reaction happening here in this activity means, when you are going to take the magnesium rubber and if you burn that magnesium rubber, what it happens means the magnesium reacts with the oxygen of the atmosphere. When you are burning that magnesium ribbon, it reacts with the oxygen of the atmosphere. Therefore, the magnesium reacts with the oxygen to form magnesium oxide. The magnesium is reacted with the oxygen to form the magnesium oxide. In the reactant side, magnesium is there. That magnesium is reacted with the oxygen. But in the product side, the new type of the product is obtained. That is the magnesium oxide. That magnesium oxide is in the powder, is in the form of the white powder. I said that in the chemical reactions, the reactants react each other to give the new product. Yeah, if you see this activity, that only happens, right? The magnesium and oxygen react each other. Therefore, the magnesium and oxygen are reactant. And the new product is obtained with the new property. In the product side, you get the new product. What is that? Magnesium oxide. The magnesium oxide is the product. That is the new product what you get. But it has the different property. It is not like the magnesium ribbon and it is not like also the oxygen. Right? Now we are going to see the equation. How we are going to write the chemical equation for this one. Okay, I said that what are the reactants should be present at the reactant side and what are the things that present at the product side. Now we are going to see the reaction for this activity. Now we are going to see the reaction for the magnesium oxide. How the magnesium oxide is formed. If you see that, I said that the reactants always written in the LHS of the equation. and the product should be written on the RHS side of the equation. I said that the reactant, what are the two reactants? We are used this in this activity means one is the magnesium and another one is the oxygen. We are going to use the magnesium and oxygen. Here these two things are reacted each other. That's why we are indicated by using the plus sign. This magnesium, we are going to react with the oxygen. Magnesium plus oxygen reacting each other in the reactant side. This magnesium and oxygen are reacted each other to give the new product with the new property. I said that you get the new product with the new property. What is the new product you get? You get the new product of the magnesium oxide. And if you see this type of representation of the equation, this is known as the word equation. What you see in this pink color, what I written on the pink color, this type of equations are known as the word equation. W-O-R-D, word equation. What is this word equation means? The writing of equation by using the words. We are not using the symbol of the elements, but we are going to using the words of the element. Magnesium, we want to write the full name of the element. That is magnesium. When this magnesium, if it is reacted with the oxygen, magnesium react with the oxygen to form the new product, that is magnesium oxide. The writing of reactant and product in the words is known as word equation. And you may see that I am writing the another type of equation in the purple color. What is this type of equation means? This is the skeleton equation, or it can be written as symbolic equation. What is this skeleton equation or symbolic equation? What is this skeleton equation or symbolic equation means? If you see that I am using the symbols. I am going to use the symbols for the representation of the reactant and product. If you see for the magnesium, what is the symbol? The symbol of magnesium is Mg. And for the symbol of oxygen is O. Right? Here the magnesium and oxygen. Therefore I am written as the magnesium and oxygen, O2. And the magnesium and oxygen. When the magnesium and oxygen react each other, you are getting the magnesium oxide. You may ask that why we are writing the 2 here and why we are writing the 2 here. To balance the equations, we want to use the numbers. That I am explaining this, how you are going to balance the equation when I am going to explain the balancing equation. Okay. Now you just see for the chemical reaction. I said for the chemical reaction, any of the two reactant are react each other to give the new product. The systematic representation of the reactant into the product is known as the chemical reaction. This is considered as the chemical reaction. This is the best example for the chemical reaction. Okay. Another one example, that means another one activity is given in your test group, or it prescribed in your test book to explain this chemical reaction. That reaction, that activity, we will discuss in the next class. Hope you enjoy this video. Hope you understand what are the things I said. Now I am going to end the section, and then in the next section we are going to discuss with the two activities to writing the chemical reaction. Bye students.